Hi, welcome to Talking and Reading from Japan. I'm your host, Hidemi Woods. I'm a singer-songwriter from Kyoto, Japan. And beside my singing career, I've published some books about my childhood memories. All my books are memoirs, and on this show, I read an episode from those books and talk about it, or talk about anything that pops up on my mind. I hope you enjoy with me. Today, I'll read one of my books titled The Girl in Kyoto. It looks like this. And this book is also a memoir. And so everything I wrote is exactly what happened to me. And I pick up one episode at a time and introduce you. Today's episode is titled Precious Tea. It's about a special tea that my grandmother used to bring back home from a big Buddhism event. Precious Tea. Today is Buddha's birthday. I had lived with my grandmother until I left my hometown, and she led a secluded life. She rarely went out, but the Buddhist event was one of her exceptions. Although she had a limp and hated to step out of the house, she was willing to take a 1-hour train ride alone to the head temple of Buddhism. There, she would pour a special sweetened tea over a statue of Buddha and bring the tea home. Drinking it was supposed to make us healthy and happy. Unfortunately, it tasted horrible. Since it was considered sacred and the precious result of my grandmother's rare long trip, I had to finish it thankfully with a forced smile. It was no more than annual torture for me. That was today's episode. While I lived in Kyoto with my grandparents and my parents, this event happened annually in spring on Buddha's birthday. Although my grandmother hated to go out, she was willing to go to the temple that was not near my home, but she wanted to go there once a year. That meant how special the event was to her, I suppose. My grandmother was an unfriendly woman, I have to say. I was raised by grandparents in place of my parents who were so busy out of the field because they were farmers. So in my childhood, I spent most of the time of the day with my grandparents, who were tremendously strict. And so, although I spent a lot of time with them, I never felt close to them because they were too scary for me. And especially my grandmother was a distant and unfriendly woman to me. Even though how much time I spent with her, she never let me close to her. I mean, not physically, but mentally. She never talked about herself, so I actually didn't know her, although she was the person in my family with whom I spent the most time. And she was unfriendly and distant, strict. So basically, I was afraid of her, scared of her all my life until I left my home. And I had never talked about personal issues or asked her about her personal experiences or her childhood, or I couldn't do that because she nurtured the atmosphere that people was able to get closer to her. She refused to close relationship, it seemed. And so I didn't know her, although she was raised me. And but when I was became teenager, I began to pursue my career as a musician, and but my parents didn't like it. They opposed my career choice, and they didn't support me. So I every time I went to rehearse in a studio, rental studio with my band, I pretended to attend college, attend classes in college. I was a college student back then, but it was just fake status for me I created, because I actually had enrolled the college, but I seldom went there. I seldom attended the classes because I had decided to be a musician, and so I wanted to spend as much time as I could in a studio with my band. So I pretended to go to school, and and I went straight to a rental studio. But my grandmother was the only family member that who was closely watching me. So one day, she somehow found out what I was doing. And one day she stopped me when I was about to leave for the studio. She called out, "Wait, wait." And she gave me some money. And I asked her what this money was for. And she said, "I guess the studio is expensive, so I wanted to chip in." I was so astounded by her gesture, nice gesture, because she wasn't a gentle, kind woman as far as I knew. So it was so unexpected that she gave me some money for my music career. And the thing is, she used money from the family wallet. I mean, she didn't have her own stash of money. So there was a family wallet that in which money was stashed for daily basis expenses like utility or food or daily goods. And so it was a shared family wallet, shared money. And she chipped in for me from that money. And one day, finally, she was caught by my mother. My mother noticed the money in the family wallet got less and less so quickly. And so she asked my grandmother, because beside my mother, my grandmother was the only person who accessed that wallet. So I wasn't at home when it happened, but my mother interrogated my grandmother, and she explained, she tried to help my expenses for the rental studio. And my mother got furious because my mother didn't support my career. She was fiercely opposed to my choice of becoming a musician. So she scolded at my grandmother and told her not to do that again ever. And in that evening, I was also scolded my mother, and she told me not to take my grandmother's money again. And next day, my grandmother came to me, and she wanted to, it seemed she wanted to talk to me something. And I asked her what, and she said, "I am sorry." She said so kindly and sweetly, as if she was a different person from I really knew over the years. And I asked her what for, and my grandmother said, "I was caught by your mother, and I couldn't give you money for studio anymore, and so I'm sorry," she said. I was astounded by her nice gesture, and she wasn't that kind of person I had thought. But in that moment, she was so kind, tender, thoughtful, and so warm, and I felt I was loved by her so much. Well, and so I have to say I bitterly miss her now. Well, that's all for today. Thanks for listening. If you like, please follow me at Talking and Reading from Japan. That I regularly broadcast on my podcast, and you can hear this show wherever you get your podcasts. So if you like, please follow me. I'd greatly appreciate it. Well, so this podcast is regularly broadcast by me, so I think, I hope I can see you again soon. I'm Hidemi Woods. Thanks for listening. Until next time, take care and be well.